Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B. And joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Stephen Four, and Sean Nate. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog. Great to be here.
Yo, it's that time of the evening.
Hey.
Sean, is your Infinity Gauntlet flicking me off?
Only you.
Okay. Good.
That's a lot of power in that one finger.
It's the snaps. He's got the snaps.
The snaps.
Yeah, I feel like this is a perfect time of the show to go ahead and start it out with a RIP, Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You should have never gave Thanos all them fucking gems, bro. We've been telling you.
I think that was definitely Doctor Strange's fault, if I recall correctly.
He said he went in time and he saw it 1 million ways play out. Stan Lee had to go. That's the sacrifice Stan Lee took.
It's definitely Chris Pratt's fault.
He got in his feelings.
You know, the gauntlet was almost off.
It was almost off. He got in his feelings. He had to get
in his feelings.
He had to feel like his punch mattered.
Yeah, definitely. Now that I see that gauntlet back there, I'm looking at Sean's face right now. If you guys are listening to this podcast, there's an Infinity Gauntlet just above the Captain's shield, sort of pointing at Sean's face with its middle finger. It's amazing.
Absolutely pointing at his ear hole.
Yeah, it's almost too much.
I feel like this might be a I'm with stupid scenario.
I mean, it's Thanos though. He's like, yo, I'm with this guy.
Yeah, this guy.
Or he's saying this is my bathroom liaison. What is that? Bathroom attendant?
Custodial engineer. But
Adeptus Custodes.
Sorry, we're kind of weak on the poop and dick jokes right now, guys. We just blew our load on the after hour show. So, David, if you're watching, we're sorry. We gave it all already.
Yeah, not to sell paywalls, but go subscribe to our paywall.
Go hit us up in thelongword.net.
Oh, wait, what day is it? Oh, actually, the new live battle report's up on there, and I think I dropped the first live battle report on YouTube this morning.
On the tubes.
So if you missed it live, you can see the first one on the YouTube. The second one with the orcs is on the longword.net.
That's a big deal. We'll promote more here toward the end of this first segment. As not to front load our show with all ads. We'll give you a little content right now. I promise you it's going to be good. Rob, nerd.
Makes this shit good.
Make it good.
Make it good. I can't. It's not that good this week. I mean, it's great. Of course,
I just put the hopes and dreams of this entire paywall platform on your shoulders.
Everything. I'm not going to lie to people. Everything's great. Mostly. All right. So this week, if you haven't heard, Blackstone Fortress is a thing. You probably have a preview copy at your local game store. It's a neat game. $150 gets you 44 figures, which I think is kind of the exact 1-for-1 exchange you can kind of expect if you pick up this box. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about the rules a little later. We kind of previewed, talked about it a little bit, but the rules for 40k are kind of interesting. I think the biggest takeaway from the box in general is that
under the Jello box. What was that box? Rogue Trader?
The Rogue Trader, yeah.
Are these rules worse or better for 40k reasons, not standalone board game reasons? Worse or better?
I would say equal to or less than.
Sean, you
Jello
agree with that?
box.
Yeah, I didn't look too much into Rogue Trader, but I was looking through a bunch of the characters for this box set, and maybe one or two of the Imperial ones you could fit into a list or do something cool with. But they aren't very strong, and they don't do anything better than regular codex options, which is, I think, what GW is going for with this. They don't want people to have to pay to play, which is kind of nice, that you don't have to buy this 150 box set in order to compete further in 40K.
Yeah, that same thing is holding true to like even like the little rattlings. Like I was pumped for those because like cool ass rattlings instead of just, you know, old metal ones or even the new 5-man kit they put out. Like these guys look great, but like their points are the equivalent basically of a 5-man rattling unit. Like just you're right, Sean. Like it's
well, good, because we made the mistake, Juice,
blowing my socks off
of covering all of those rules. Like when I think it was one of those days you weren't here or something. And me and Haspel were like, oh, we're going to talk all about how these Rogue Trader rules are going to be cool in 40K. We spent like 20 minutes of our life on that. And I was like, why did we do this? But here's something. LT says, what about Blackstone Fortress dudes and Kill Team?
So, yeah. Well, first off, let me just, before we hit that, because that's actually my next point, I do want to mention the fact that I think Blackstone Fortress, it's better to maybe kind of have the meh bar high so that they can come in and kind of ratchet it down and make these better if they really want to. And I think the big takeaway from this box set is there's so much tremendous potential, both from a design standpoint, because these miniatures look dope. I don't care. Pick one. It looks dope, right? They all look dope equally. The robot, tremendous potential for the robot, seems to be a fan favorite at this point. The spindle drones look cool. The Renegade Guardsman, give me a Renegade Guardsman codex. Like, come on. Why is it 2018 we don't have this?
Did you guys hear that statement going a different way? It was like the Renegade Guards, give me a Renegade Guard codex already. I was like, the Renegade Guard, give me a Renegade Guard erection. Is somebody the one who heard that?
No. I think that was just you.
That was just you.
That was definitely just you.
Why is my mind in such the God?
It's Gutter Wednesday.
Oof.
So I think there's great potential here. There's great potential. We got other releases to talk about, but real quick, I think, and this is going to kind of go into some of the things I'm going to have to say at the end of the show. I think that we have the potential here to see future expansions for this game, very similar to what we see with Kill Team Commanders right now, because you could easily take any of the characters in 40K, the named characters, right? Rebox them in a little $35 box, give you extra little cards and extra things that would go with Blackstone Fortress, but also make it for Kill Team as well. So you could port them over. You could put out a card set for Kill Team with all of the cards that you would need to play these models in Kill Team. So you could have an Eldrad in Kill Team, you know, all this stuff. Because remember, Eldrad died the first time around in a Blackstone Fortress, but then he's back. I don't know what happened.
That was redacted. That never happened, Rob.
That never happened. Okay.
That 13 Death Crusade was redacted.
I'm pretty sure I have the book over on my shelf where it happened.
That global campaign was a
global campaigns are a myth. But long story short, I think there's tremendous potential here for Kill Team and also extra expansions for Blackstone Fortress. And I'm sure we're going to see it going into 2019. Release wise, also, by the way, if you're curious about Blackstone Fortress, if it's for you, I would recommend make sure you have a couple of friends and you can set up kind of like a game night to run through the scenarios and stuff. Because it isn't a sit there and play. It's definitely a multi-session experience with lots of record keeping and bookkeeping. So it's a thing.
Yeah, dude, whenever you were at the Beats Lab, actually got your copy and was putting it all together, and I'm like, Rob, what the shit is this? And you're like, I mean, you were at this game for like 45 minutes. And so I walk over, I'm like, okay, cool. Robbie B has done his shit. He'll let me know. He'll basically download. I'll try to download as much information from him so I can have like talking points and this. And I'm like, Rob, what in the actual hell is this? He's like, I mean, I couldn't even retain anything. There's a lot of slides, a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces, a lot of tiles. I don't know, man. This might be a little more than just getting models. This might be a bus shy of like the cult models that everybody, you know, Renegade cult models are great.
So to summarize what Juice said, I've been trying not to do any dick jokes.
A guard on.
It starts with the phrase, is might be a multi-session. And then
Yep.
Rob laid down, or Juice continues with, you're gonna need multiple tiles, multiple people. And I was like, why? What kind of session are we talking about?
This is a circle jerk.
Like, what are we talking about here, guys?
You would actually get more done in a circle jerk than trying to play this game. I'm just trying to be real.
Do you like it?
The circle jerk or the game?
Yeah, circle jerk of the game. Yes. Just yes.
I was trying to I just want to be like, I hate the game.
Yeah.
But love circle jerks.
I think
Now I've heard that, Rob, it's similar to the Silver Tower game, right? Which
it is.
I've heard from people that plays well and is very popular with even people that don't really play Sigmar or 40k when they've gotten into it. So
yeah, there's Silver Tower actually has a pretty decent rating over on Board Game Geek, and I'm sure Blackstone Fortress will as well. But again, you need multiple people. It's very, very, very involved. It's like, you know how 40k is like a more complicated version of Age of Sigmar at this point because they took a lot of the elements and combined the two. That's exactly how this is compared to Silver Tower. So it's a more complicated version of Silver Tower, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very innovative and groundbreaking, but it's definitely not for everybody. I won't even, if you like Titanicus and you had a hard time getting people to play Titanicus with you, except for the 500 people over on Forge World's page that chimed in when they did something silly this week, then you need to find those 500 people and you need to try to get them to play Blackstone Fortress with you, because you're going to probably have a hard time finding folks to play it with you. That being said, I think that's the biggest hurdle to having fun with this game. Also out this week is a couple of new Black Library novels. A couple of things, not that big of a deal, that are coming out as far as, I think everybody's just kind of looking forward to the bundles on the GW side of thing. And then, of course, GW announced that there will be new Titans coming out with new weapon options, whole kits at the end of the month. But very next day, after a lot of intense internet pressures from both the front and the back side, I think they relented and they said, hey, we're going to release these upgrade sprues as a separate release early next year. So I don't know if they have a magical wand that they can just wave and poof, products are created, packaging is made, and they have these things in 3 months. But apparently they did it. So there will be a lot more on that in the future, because the comments have trailed off into, well, why can't you fix 40k rules for Forge World, or why do you charge us 20% more? And those got locked down pretty quick.
Rob,
but
not to derail you too much, but it's been almost 4 minutes since I talked about poop or dicks. I wrote down some things you just said
and how they relate to those topics.
So if you just take, maybe Juice basically said it's a circle jerk a few minutes ago. So I'm just sitting here listening, just taking notes, trying to come in with an intelligent conversation. You said the following phrases: it's going to take multiple people. It's going to be very involved. It's actually going to be really hard to get people interested. There's going to be a lot of internet pressure from both the back and the front, and there will be a release.
Yep, that checks out. Make sure you have safe words, and also you establish rules of play up front. I think that's what we can take away from this.
And as in all games, you want to establish dominance early, and also
you want to make sure nobody has a feel badsy in the games you're about to play. Also coming out this week, Archon Studios has a very cool new Kickstarter that involves modular terrain. So if you like Kill Team, or you just like terrain in general, and you kind of get sad that you can only ever set up your terrain one way, well, hey, they made a great new set of Gothic and also fantasy style terrain that you can magnetize to snap together and recreate and break apart multiple times. And they also made it so that you can use the sprue parts themselves to make little peg slots to attach them together. So if you don't feel like gluing and magnets into everything, and you just feel like using a couple of rods to shove into the holes to keep,
you know what you're doing.
to keep your terrain stiff so they can support multiple sessions, then I suppose this Kickstarter is for you. The pledges start at $49 and go on up from there. So I think it's making a big splash. I think it's a great idea. I got some prototypes in, some resin prototypes, and while they were not quite the same material, they're talking about, and this is actually groundbreaking if you think about it. Archon Studios is getting plastic injection molding in the EU. They would be the second person in our industry to have that sort of technology. This is kind of a big one. Like this.
All sexual innuendo aside, Archon Studios, they are innovators. I think they're probably the top 2 biggest resin production facilities in the world right now for miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
They innovate technology, and it seems like right up there, it's exactly their MO to get into injection molding with plastic. Like, their kits are ridiculous. They're unicast. They're insane. They can keep up with production. We've worked with them a few times in the past and haven't seen a bad model.
No, I think having everything under one roof really makes it a lot easier to source these Kickstarter projects. And going forward, if they have the plastic injection molding technology there in the EU, I think it's going to be big. It's going to be big for the industry, and it's going to allow them to do a lot larger and more ambitious projects going forward instead of having to farm all their stuff out of a different country and import it in. Because if you think about it, Games Workshop's actually doing that too. A lot of the production is actually in China to keep up with things there. So a lot of good things hopefully are on the way from this Kickstarter here, which is it's called Rampart. It's up on Kickstarter right now. Make sure you check it out. Even if it's not for you, tell a friend, share it out on Facebook, so other people can start tracking this Kickstarter here. And there's a video game too, Mechanicus, I think comes out soon for yet another Games Workshop video game. It looks tight, but then again, I'm just judging it by the trailer, so don't really know where I'm going with that. But that is definitely coming out soon.
Just reading the news, bro. There doesn't have to be a point to it. Now I know that there's a Mechanicus video game. I'm literally just started downloading it as soon as you said that.
It's already downloaded.
So if we get any hiccups here in the audio feed, it's due to my lack of professionalism while downloading the video game while also streaming this content.
And here we go. So Patreon.com/Battle Brother. That's where you can find Sean and I tactics by us. And it's been an exciting time. Sean, I think we are on, what is that, 3 weeks now, 2.5 weeks going strong. And
it can't be more than like 11, 12 days now.
Oh, that's a good point. We can just count weekends because you were here. We're coming up, I guess, on the second weekend since you haven't been here. And it has been an absolute blast so far. The Facebook page, once you become a actual Battle Brother, and you get access to the secret Facebook group that has just been on and popping, that has been exploding with bonus content.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. We've been learning a lot of new technology and trying to get the tightest videos and tactics out there for everybody.
We now have live battle reports. That's a big deal. Not just live like everyone else is doing.
Yeah, full on commentating, right? Like Madden apps. We've got, this will actually be 3 Sundays in a row, kicked off with Sean and I throwing down. We had the Orcs last weekend, and then coming up, we're going to be having Dark Eldar Drakari versus Nids. And guess what? I'm not playing the Nids.
For about a year now, that we want to move toward that esports vibe, and that's Sean's here. We got Team America, we got the fresh jerseys. They just took home a win. Juice is the co-captain. I think this is where we're going. So that's this Sunday, guys. That was a long advertisement. Thank you for letting us promote. That's this Sunday. I want to say 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern.
That's it.
You'll be able to watch it the same way you watch us here. Twitch, HoboTube, HoboBook. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back, talk about our bold chapter approved predictions with Sean and Juice. Finally, the Long War swag is here. LongWarSwag.com, the official home of Long War merchandise. We've got a range of merchandise exclusive to the Long War brand, next level painting and spiky bits. Definitely log in today while supplies lasts. Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com. elricshobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elric's Hobbies. elricshobbies.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
And we're back. Let's do it. Bold predictions. We've got two experts, the Battle Brothers themselves, Sean and Juice. And the way we're going to divide the topics are simple: nerfs and buffs. Sean is taking the nerfs position. Juice is taking the buffs position, and it is bold. Bolder the better. Sean, give me some nerfs.
Because I'm the heel, right?
Always.
And I put the elbow on Juice, so now I gotta nerf myself.
These are all facts. I can't deny them.
And since Juice and I will never play another game, it'll be a long time before he can avenge that L.
We might have to take this show on the road, and when we face potentially at LVO or at Adepticon, now just might be the time.
Mm-hmm. So I think continuing with the pattern of every major FAQ, that Ynnari will again take a hit because they continue to be the people's bad boy. And it's one of the reasons I actually moved away from them personally, is to stop playing the heel, stop playing the easy to argue against, that they're super OP. So I think they're going to take a major hit in Chapter Approved. For sure.
So specifically, what units are left? We talk about the spears?
I mean, I think you'll see it increases points in spears a little bit. I think it'll more be an actual effect on Ynnari. I can't even speculate on what that could be, but I think there'll be a direct rules, maybe like a generic everything you take in Ynnari costs X% more, or maybe they'll cut the interaction of Ynnari until they get a proper codex.
I like that one. That's the bold one. Cut him out. Contrast that, Juice. Give me a buff.
The one buff that everybody's been waiting for. That is Grey Knights are really going to take a points decrease. Stormbolter is going to be better than ever. I want you to know, rumor mill around, everybody wants to talk about, because the Orcs and Gene Stealer Cult, everybody's talking about these Alpha Legion. Alpha Legion is going to be able to come back, or excuse me, not Alpha Legion, I'm sorry. Noise Marines are just so good. They're going to be shooting, and they got all these shots. And I was like, okay, guys, let me tell you something real quick. What do you guys feel about, let me tell you about a unit. Within 12 inches, they shoot, a 10-man unit shoots 40 shots, right? They can have minuses and pluses to their AP and potentially hitting. And also they have a power weapon. They're like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. I was like, guess what? I just said a 10-man Grey Knight Strike Squad. They're like, no way. Well, that unit sucks. I was like, yeah, does it? When these guys take a 3 to 4 point decrease per model and have a 2 of armor save on turn 1, I believe Grey Knights will come back better than ever. And last bold prediction, remember in the great age of 5th edition, when Purifiers had the psychic ability that just tabled orcs?
Oh, Cleansing Flames.
Cleansing Flames. Are you kidding me that we're going to see right now the amazing book, the unicorn book that Orc players have been wanting? And then a month later, Chapter Approved is going to come out, and Grey Knights are going to go back to whooping that ass.
It reminds me of how Rob always used to talk about it. He's like, oh, they make this unit, then next week they make the unit to beat it. And sometimes they, people, ban it between those releases, not realizing that there's something to counter everything. It'd be really interesting to see if Grey Knights did take a point, because it's a classic case, Sean, right? Of they're not underruled, they're overpointed.
Yeah, and most of the power armor right now there's some mysterious guide maybe that the three up save is too strong. And
talking about the old GW flowchart.
Yeah, the old GW flowchart. But with all the negatives in 8th edition, the 3-up isn't what it ever was. And most people aren't.
A 3-up is worse than a 5-up invulnerable.
Yeah. So
truth.
So Sean, what do you got for me? Give me another nerf.
I think Chaos is in that slot to maybe take a hit because they are super popular. I don't think they're too strong, but I think there's some of their psychic buffs, and especially in the Thousand Suns area, where their casters get smites like Buck Wild smites. I think that might decrease, and maybe Zangors could take a hit. I don't know that Cultist could go up anymore.
You think the Dark Matter Crystal specifically might get nerfed?
Something along the lines, because any of these Death Star units, I think GW has been trying to get us away from in 8th edition. So that's where we talked about like the Eldar Spears, the Yunari Spears. Are these Zangors too many buffs stacked on one unit and too many wombo combos that make people get the feel badsies? So I think GW could hit those units.
Makes sense. Zangors do create there's no shortage of feel badsies when a Zangor bomb does a stuck dizzle.
Yeah, there is 1 million things that can be done to them, from psychic abilities, buffs, relics. I mean, they get all the love.
I mean, they get everything, right? They get +1 invulnerable, -1 to hit. There's a +1 attack. There's a hit on 2, +1 to hit. Reroll 1s.
+1 to wound.
There's +1 to wound and a fight twice. There's literally everything.
And pick this unit up and move it where you will.
Oh yeah, also turn 1 charge.
Yeah, and +1 inches when you do charge.
Move in the psychic phase.
Yeah.
Also +1 to charge.
Yep. And they have a weapon. It's not even like they're, just strength 5 attacks or strength 4 attacks. The weapon's -1 AP.
-1 AP.
Huge.
Very strong.
Sean, that was your buff. I mean, that was your nerf. We talked a lot about Zangors. I feel it. Juice, give me a buff.
Okay, so we're going to go and I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on the points decretion, and it is going to come from a 7th edition love of mine, that is AdMech. Okay, they are going to get a lot cheaper. I believe that Cadillac Destroyers are for 50 points or around in there is just way too expensive. Just because, again, they have a toughness 5 with 3 or 4 wounds, that doesn't mean shit with a 4-up save and hitting on 4s, right?
Toughness means less than it's ever meant before.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we have that, and I believe that they're going to get a points decrease specifically because this army, which was not a meta army anyway, was not on anybody's radars except, maybe a handful of people that just really liked Dragoons or whatever else. But the Styges, AdMech faction that they had within, I always forget what to call each one of those, Forge World. Is what they have, right? Yeah. Okay. So the Styges Forge World was the front runner to kind of create some form of competitive build. Got immediately hit with the new FAQ that just came out. So I can only imagine that AdMech sales have been at an all-time low. And these are one of GW's babies that they created in the last 3 years, and they're not going to let these cool-ass models sit on the shelves. I believe that they get a huge point decrease Not just even like, in my opinion, Grey Knights. They're going to have some models. I think the whole AdMech army as in general is going to maybe 5 to 11% decrease in points across the board. Rob, have we seen anything drastic like that ever happen? Like, I'm talking about like codex wise drop.
Not in chapter approved, I don't think. No.
Or even dating back.
Yeah, I mean, codex has come out and they've made things more relevant. I think the last Orc book actually did that. I couldn't even tell you how many years ago that was. The one that came out in 2008, I think really made things a lot cheaper, and we saw a lot of competitive builds rise from that. But yeah, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of the same things that we'll see in chapter approved, like to coincide with some of the battle forces that are coming out, that those particular battle forces will get, points to help sell them as well, because it is some of the models that haven't been selling. So that'll be interesting to see. Good sales timing combo there.
Do we have any more nerfs? I think we had a good top 3. Oh, of course.
Of course. What's the big man in the room?
Lights.
Hey, look, first off, he's kind of conscientious about his weight. He wears it well. Okay.
Especially when you keep dropping him.
Hey, not these hands aren't the only ones that drop him. That's getting fixed. He's getting pinned and magnetized. Rare earth unobtainium magnets are going to hold that bastard together.
Of course, we're talking about Juice's Castellan. It is the big baddie. Everybody's using it. It's probably a little undercosted. I hope they don't knee jerk crazy like they've done in some cases in the past, because I don't want to see people not be able to play it. But a little bit of an increase could definitely go a long way to smoothing that out.
Yeah. And just to kind of piggyback off that, you guys have heard me say this for a month and a half now. Like, yes, I can get behind. Whenever I'm building lists now, I point him at 725 points. That's 100 from where I'm going right now at 593 or 594, because I only give him one set of autocannons on top and 4 missiles, just because it's 12 points cheaper. That guy that's still a substantial points increase. Let's not get crazy. Let's not get to 800. But if you do that, that is a major, major issue if you get any further than the 700-ish. And the only reason why I say that they shouldn't too is because this is GW's model. This is the new baby. But look at what they did to Bobby G. And the Saint even. They didn't double its points overnight. They did a little bit every time. FAQs were coming out, and we didn't even know points were going up, and Bobby G was 25 more points expensive, right? It seemed like his point value went up every 3 months for the first, 12 for the first year.
Wasn't that the Fire Raptor went like up in points, then back down in points, then back up to somewhere in between?
Yep. Especially if we can go down that rabbit hole. Gene Stealers did the same thing. They were, depending on what book you picked up, they were either 17 or 15 or 12, all within, 4 months.
I think that was before GW realized that chapter approved, I think, was going to be where most of their point fixes were, right?
Yeah.
So they were just going crazy. And now that's why it's good to talk about it for chapter approved, because they've been holding back on this. They've been fixing stratagems, rewording a couple things, making them 1 use per game, maybe making them more CPs. They really haven't been messing around too much with points.
Yep.
There's definitely going to be some nerfs and buffs.
I got a banger. I got a banger for a positive, but I just want to say it again because I got to say it on every show. Everybody wants to talk about there's a big bad guy and there's a bully. But you Imperium players, you Xenos players that aren't Eldar, a damn Castellan is keeping the universe in check, at bay. It still gets beat. It still is, it's not unbeatable. But that beautiful bastard he is the sheriff of all the universe. So soon as we say that he's pointed out of existence, guess what all these Knight players are going to say? All right, cool. I'm going to run 3 gallons. You thought one was bad. Now there's nobody that kills the Knights. Magnus and Mortarion get to go unchecked. through 3-round tournaments, right? They don't have to actually play maybe a dice-off game in the first, second couple rounds, right? Like, so either way, before we start saying he's the man that needs to go, remember, there's always got to be one. So, Kenny, my banger that I think, shy of the sisters, right? Everybody knows sisters coming out. I think in tandem with the sisters coming out in this year's chapter approved, I believe that they are going to open up the door and the gates to allow assassins to be brought more readily into Imperium armies, and they will not take up a detachment.
That'd be kind of huge, man. Because assassins, they got some good rules, man.
Dude, every Evisor assassins fulfill a close combat element to every Imperium army. You know,
I love that dude. That dude can just show up and grab and get these charges off. And I mean, two of those guys can do some work. And then obviously the QLex's assassin is insanity annoying. Like, I'd like to see that for sure.
I mean, Imperial agents are a great thing to have to pair with. You could even bring back Inquisitors, because if you think about it, the sisters are orders of Hereticus, right? So they're part of the Inquisition. Technically, they're a militant arm, just like the Grey Knights are. So I could definitely see it. It all goes hand in hand to add to that excitement level.
So that was basically the top 3.
If they brought that in with a keyword, because currently you can take a bunch of different Marine chapters, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, all in the same detachment, because they all share the Adeptus Astaris keyword. If they brought in something like Ordo, blah, 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 as a keyword and put it in Sisters and Grey Knights and Assassins and Inquisitors, so that they would lose all their special rules, but you could bring in them all in the same detachment, that might be some interesting way to get all those things work together in like a semi-soup list.
Deathwatch too.
Yeah.
Oh, Deathwatch, of course.
You have Ordo Xenos in there.
Yeah. If you had like an Ordo keyword, Ordo blank keyword.
Chapter approved might come up with a new Ordo keyword. I like that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's Ordo D.
Ordo D.
These nuts.
D's what?
D's nuts.
Rob, give me a bold prediction.
Show of hands. How many people are going to be upset if all those $170 knights and all those $150 knights get nerfed into extinction and they haven't even had them for 6 months? Like,
don't put that evil on me right now. It's getting late. I'm trying to get some good sleep tonight. I don't want to be mad. Don't want to go to bed pissed off. Like, there's been some amazing shit that has happened in the year of 2018. Our good 40k Lord and Savior has blessed us with. Let's not ruin it on the eve of 2019 by telling me that the beautiful baby night child that you have blessed us with is being stolen out of our damn manger. Okay. And I can't play with it anymore. I will be so irately mad. If y'all thought Mike Haspel's salt episode of the Space Wolf some 4 months ago, it will not even be, that won't even be in comparison to what I'm going to do, not even in the same field. If GW takes away a Castellan, makes it unplayable in matched play, I don't care what happens in open play. I don't care about anything else. If you point him out of existence, if he hits 800 points, the proverbial table is getting flipped.
I think it's a dangerous time right now. The salt levels are set to brine. I think a lot of folks are angry and disappointed with the way they rolled out October. I think a lot of folks are angry and disappointed with the lateness to the FAQ and then the actual FAQ itself, with the fly rule that doesn't even make sense to a lot of people. They can't, a lot of the hobby pyramid, the middle to the base of the hobby pyramid are people that, they just want it to make sense. And it doesn't, the fly rule just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Like I get
No,
what they're trying to.
Right, you are so right. It is a tough sell, right? When you're telling me a demon prince with wings is stopped by a Nurgle Ripper Swarm, right? Or a Nid Ripper Swarm or anything.
Or even if you have two aircraft across from each other, but there's a guard squad in between them, you can't dogfight. Like I want a pew pew. I want a pew pew on my pew pews.
Matt Wilson, we usually don't shout out a lot of people while we're on the podcast, but Matt Wilson is exactly right. This is why they better not do it. It's easy to call somebody talking head. It's like, oh, Juice is just blah, 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 right? This is a dude who's there is more of them out there with this exact same story. He just potentially dumped. If they tell me after I dumped on my knight, after I spent $2,000 to acquire these knights and have them converted and professionally painted, $2,000. So GW, this isn't just about buying your model. This is about the time and effort that goes into having them converted, having them make them look beautiful. I have everything else. It's a bit much.
There's a tremendous possible exodus of players in my mind. I haven't seen metrics and indicators like this since GW fumbled the Age of Sigmar release in 2015. I haven't seen anything like this since then, and that was 3 years ago. And it's a dangerous time right now. That the FAQ, the raising prices on Forge World overnight, and then pretending like it was okay because we can get this stuff in our own country now. Thanks, I guess. Like, we all know how I feel about that. I had to restrain myself from destroying all of my Forge World. That's how angry I was. I think, and not just me, I'm sure a lot of other people. But I think the stage is set for a very dangerous time right now for Games Workshop, when people have their faith has been shaken in them. When you can't put out a codex day one without it being incorrect with the Space Wolf Warlord trait snafu, and then the fix is to print out a sheet of paper in all black and blow your ink cartridge to Kingdom Come. There's just been so many missteps in the past couple of months that people are so on edge right now and so salty that this going the wrong way for them, I think, is going to be very bad for Games Workshop. And that's not to say that they'll leave the hobby altogether. I could see folks, going to Nightfall, going to Age of Sigmar, where the tempo is a lot slower. Potentially Titanicus. Hey, come on over to Titanicus. It's a great game.
Hey, let me jump in there real quick. I see some interesting comments in chat. I think people might be confused on our point. Me, Juice, Sean, and to a lesser extent, Rob, we buy broken shit. We play OP stuff. We try to win. They tell us it changes. We get new OP broken shit and we keep winning. Rob is talking about the hobby pyramid. We're talking about the base and the middle of the pyramid. The people who pay GW's bills. We literally fucking don't care. Like, we play whatever. We love this shit. We breathe this. We dedicated the better part of our adult lives to this hobby. This is more like business advice to GW. This is, you got a whole bunch of people out there buying stuff for whatever reason they want to. Typically, GW is really good at marketing. They show something amazing. Everyone buys it. Competitive players buy exactly enough to be competitive. Then the rest of the pyramid is what paid GW's bills. So that large group of people, if you continuously make them feel bad over and over and over again by not only pointing them out of playability, but changing the rules on them so often, big FAQ, note from the designers, then a snap second day Facebook post that's also rules. Like, no matter where you are in the pyramid, you want to play the rules. That starts making people feel bad. If you do that enough times in a row, even though we're like apparently in a hobby renaissance, this is a prediction for the future. GW is one bad quarter away from potential disaster with all the growth they just experienced. This is advice. Like, don't shit on the base of the pyramid.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not just the Castellan. It's any unit in there. I mean, just the normal Questoris Knights, like people bought a lot of them because they're good and you can have fun and you can take armigers and do all sorts of cool stuff, I mean, Forge World's the points for most cool Forge World units, they're not even kind of worth taking on the tabletop in any sort of competitive level. I mean, they're funsies and they're cool looking. Well, regardless, I think we're at a weird time right now, and I hope Games Workshop definitely proceeds with a lot of caution right now, because there's potential. There's potential for bad things to happen in the hobby, and I'd really hate to see that right now, as far as that goes. But then again, maybe chapter approval will come out, points will go down for a whole bunch of armies, Necrons, Tau, AdMech, Primaris Marines, like we're hearing, like we're seeing potential Grey Knights. The battle forces are just in time, great savings. Folks eat it up, and we all, rise with the tide and keep on going. But let me get to some of my bold predictions, not for chapter approved, but for 2019. Because as you know, we're running out of codexes. Is the track about to stop? Or are we going across the canyon and the track is busted in the middle? We don't know where we're going. So here's my ideas for what we may see in 2019. We know that there is, of course, a sister beta codex coming out, followed by the Gene Stealer call, which, as we've been hearing, end of July or early February-ish there. But then what comes after that? Well, what comes after that really, it's going to be an interesting time, because here's the thing that GW can do. All those folks that were disappointed with whatever book, name a codex book and name a unit that didn't come in it, or a new unit or something like that. Like, everybody has their picks and everybody has their favorites. But GW has the potential here that they have a great framework of a rule set. They can put out a 2.0 rules, just like they did with Age of Sigmar, that collects up all the changes in FAQs and things they've made over the past 2 years. At some point, they can put that out. They can also put out 2.0 versions of the books, the codex books, starting with Space Marines, and collect all of the changes. Now all the points are in there. Everything's correct from day one to 2 years prior, right? So fast forward to late summer, early fall, probably when we'll see the actual Sisters book, and then they can start putting out those new 8th edition 2.0s, or even perhaps 8th edition 2.0 itself, that a lot of us could really kind of get behind, because now it's the new, it's up, it's fresh. We don't have to worry about keeping up with it every 4 months. But I think at some point, the keeping up with it every 4 months is going to take its toll, both sales wise, because, right now, middle of November, who's buying what? Nobody wants to buy anything because we don't know what's going to be good when chapter approved comes out. So that's a problem for retailers. That's a problem from Games Workshop. They need to kind of mitigate those spikes and those peaks and those valleys in their sales cycle. So I think we could see a lot of different things. Of course, we know there's new chaos coming out for potentially 40k and fantasy. So that's going to be great. But I think the big thing is getting the rules right. And I feel like we're close, but I feel like there's a little bit more work to do. And Games Workshop could easily accomplish that with the compilation 2.0 books, which we've already seen for Blood Bowl and Necromunda, where they've gone back and collected all the supplements and put them into one rule set and retweaked all the FAQs and stuff. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I think we did it. Bold predictions, not only for 2018, but 2019. Rob B sees the future. That's a gluten-free gut check, courtesy of the Emperor of Cats. Want to take us out of here? That was your cue to tell people to go to our paywall.
I just wanted to hear you talk more before I did it. I feel like I can't talk that much and then talk that much again.
Haspel, take us out.
So that's it for this one, guys. Make sure you head on over to thelongwar.net, home of the now live battle reports, for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of Long War today.